Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Reality Tale Sports. I am taking over the show. Welcome. It's my show tonight. Sorry, guys. Buckle up, Buttercup, because I'm back.
Well, it's been a good night. Pleasure to see you both. I'm going to go to bed.
Already off the rails.
Oh man, we don't know where Bobby is. We think he's a busy bee. He's a hardworking man, and we think he probably just fell asleep a little early. Full disclosure: came
I
home
know
from
he
work. In case you guys don't know, I've got a 10-day-old child, and came home from work today absolutely exhausted. Went into the front room, sat on the couch, and was asleep. Slept through dinner completely. So it was glorious. I haven't had a nap like that since Nam. So that was fucking awesome.
There is something about when you have a newborn. It's like that moment of sit down where there's just like less than 30 seconds of silence. And you're just gone.
Yeah, it's wild.
Insane.
It was almost sleep paralysis. I could hear things happening, but there's 0% chance that I was getting. Like I was just, I woke up 4 times like this.
Those naps are wild, dude.
Good for you, man. You're still on the days train. He's like, my baby is days old. Because there's there's always people that stretch they're 22 months, and you're like, all right, you're an asshole. But like 10 days, that's legit.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
young pup. Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah. We're everybody's doing good. Carter Ransom James is the young lad. Bengals 2-0 since he's been alive. He only knows defensive Bengals football. So
what a blessing for him, dude. That's such a blessing.
Well, we'll talk about more of that.
He's not making any memories of it yet, so
yeah, exactly.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, right.
In terms of Bobby, I know where Bobby's at. He just couldn't face the Russell Wilson truthers. I had an entire week of listening to every fire alarm in the book out, going, "What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing?" It's like, bro, chill. Russell Wilson shit.
Here we go. Here we go.
I mean, what do you expect from somebody who comes under the school of Pete Carroll? You know?
Yeah, greatest NFL coach ever, Pete Carroll.
So
is what you're
what a blessing.
Well, gentlemen, everybody, thank you for coming in, liking the stream, hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you. We are kind of flying by the seat of our pants here tonight. We had anticipated. Bobby literally talked to us maybe 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're less than an hour away from Bobby being like, "Hey, you guys good? Yep. 8:30. Yep. Cool." Out. it's
now he's gone.
He's insane.
Yeah. So we are going to just quickly recap at least the panel's records from last week. Going into week 7, Todd had a commanding 2-game lead on me. That will remain as Todd and I each went 9-6 last week. Aaron and Bobby, however, both who were 5 games off the lead, both pick up a game. They went 10-5 last week. Panel, I have not gone through your picks. As I said, we're getting a little bit of a late start here tonight. We all have lives, and we are going to try and get through these picks and give you what you came here for. Really, that's what we're. Somebody, I cannot see who the comments is. It literally comes in like this. Facebook user.
Yeah, so weird.
Mine are coming in that way too.
Yeah, it's odd.
I got the stream pulled up here. It's Ariel saying no Bobby tonight. He's still celebrating the Steelers win. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He just hit a bit. He saw Russell Wilson in prime time throw that lob pass to Pickens in the end zone, and he's been on a bender since. Can't get a hold of him.
Either that or he's like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to deal with Russell Wilson for long term now.
Like yeah, they're gonna sign him for 4 years.
But yeah.
They're going to cut Justin Fields and sign him for a 3-year deal after this.
Absolutely. And it'd be Mr. Unlimited. It'll be unlimited.
Did you guys hear his little intro for Sunday Night Football? He said, Russell Wilson,
I did
A
not watch
whole
that
pack
game.
of Badgers.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Bobby's brother confirming Bobby is asleep. Confirmed.
Nice.
As we
Josh,
thought.
make sure he's tucked in nice and tight.
So that
he gets a
minus
good night's
so
sleep.
that minus 220 ticket cash is right there.
Yeah, for sure. Also, good to know he is alive.
Yeah. Well, who's
True
putting
that.
Good
plus
to
800
confirm.
down on that?
Yeah. I don't want to win that bet.
It's like those aren't even really good odds.
How was everybody's weekend? How's week getting started out? How was the weekend though? Everybody did good.
Miserable.
Todd, did you have a good Saturday? Good Saturday night? Was it a good one?
Thanks, man. Yeah, hilarious.
All right, cool. No reason. I was just asking if your Saturday night was good.
I'm gonna tell. We'll get it out of the way. I understand where you're coming from. I am as disappointed as I've been in a Kentucky football team in my lifetime. Just very underwhelming. Like I kind of thought Vandegrift. I was like, oh well, he's just kind of he's been at Georgia. There's been some good quarterbacks that have rolled through there. Obviously, at least good college football quarterbacks. Like now he's going to get his shot. They're going to be able to stretch the field. They've got some really good they have two very good wide receivers that will work well in the NFL. He's less accurate than Will Levis was. Less accurate than Randall Cobb was when he had to step in as a quarterback for Kentucky. So, super disappointed with that. They do run the ball well though, which is good. That's promising.
And typically the defense is typically, right? Their defense does really well. Obviously just taking a little shot at my buddy Todd here, being
It's
a
okay.
Gators fan. Hey, snap the 3-year losing streak to Kentucky. So
right. Yeah, that's big time, especially 2 of the last 3 years. Florida was ranked in the top 15 when they lost to Kentucky. So
really cool stuff for Billy Napier.
Congratulations.
The best part is my dad, being a huge Kentucky fan, literally came to my house the next day to see his grandson. So that night I sent him a YouTube video of an alligator eating a wildcat. So that was cool. It was cool. All right, let's recap real quick. Brief recap. Bobby always likes to do a surprise of the week. So Aaron, week 7 surprise. What took you aback?
Last year seemed like we had the injury bug for the quarterbacks. It just seemed like every week, left and right, quarterbacks were going down. We were signing guys off the street. People were on third strings. It was carnage out there at the quarterback position. My surprise is this year it's the wide receiver position. Yeah. It's the same thing, but it just seems week after week after week after week, we're losing star guys left and right. Obviously, Kupp and Nakua have been out basically the whole year. In Los Angeles, you see Rashee Rice go out in Kansas City. AJ Brown missing significant time. Obviously, Godwin going down this week. Evans looking, grimaced up in pain. There's countless other guys that we've seen as well, and it's just wild. So you're seeing teams kind of adjust on the fly, but it just does remind me a lot of last year in terms of what we've seen out of the quarterback position.
Todd, what about you?
My surprise of the week is I had no idea Jake Bates had basically never kicked a football in a game until playing for the Michigan Panthers, which is just blows my mind. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that story's nuts.
To have a game winner last week, obviously.
Yeah.
The Lions going into Minnesota, that's a pretty special moment for him, I'd imagine.
Yeah, just I was shocked to hear that story. Fact checked it, like 110% true. I was going to say what Aaron said too. I think another big name he left off was Brandon Ayuk's out for the season too.
Yeah, and I knew there were some. Debo got scratched right before the game.
Yep.
So,
yeah, you had
Nico Collins.
Yeah, Nico's another good one.
Just got busted for PEDs again or whatever.
Yeah,
JMO.
I agree with you.
Can you imagine somebody saying "piss in this cup" after going -4 yards receiving? It's fucking rude.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was juiced on the sidelines, so that's where that comes from.
The weird thing about JMO is there's I guess, so the NFLPA has not come out and commented on this yet. I guess there's going to be an appeal. there's likelihood that he plays on Sunday and then misses the next 2 games. Which leads it to think that maybe there's a prescription involved or something like that. I'm not entirely sure.
Eugenics.
Yeah, is that what
it was?
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the
I was
idea.
like, really?
I just like the idea of an ad with him, Frank Thomas, and Doug Flutie moving forward. Right? Like the three of them in a commercial together.
42424 and typed hashtag Big Hurt. Like, what's the problem?
I'm like, is this because I'm pretty sure it's illegal in the PGA? Like, is Adderall a banned substance?
Yes, Joe Hayden got suspended for that, which he should. I've taken Adderall. It enhances.
Yeah, I'm elite on the golf course.
Yeah, it's not even that. I'm like scrubbing the baseboards with a toothbrush.
Right,
we're gonna clean the fuck out of this house.
It's like this house is gonna be fucking clean as shit.
Yeah.
Child
organizing Legos. Yeah, you're organizing Legos in a bin. It's nuts.
I'm just stacking coasters like I'm playing poker.
I think my biggest surprise of the week is how wrong we were on some of these games. All of us took the Patriots. All of us took the Falcons. All of us took the Giants. And we were so wrong on all of those games.
Those all seemed like flyers, though, for being honest, especially the Giants and especially the Patriots. We took underdogs in the situations.
Yeah, and the spread wasn't too large, I don't think, in either. And I'm pretty sure Atlanta was favored at home.
Yeah, and obviously London game for the Patriots, Jaguars.
Yeah, so interesting nonetheless. All right, moving forward into week 8. Let's get things started here. We've got the Minnesota Vikings going into SoFi Stadium to take on Matthew Stafford and the recovering Los Angeles Rams. Vikings at Rams, Thursday Night Football. Vikings coming off of the last second loss to the division rival Detroit Lions. Aaron, get us started here, buddy.
Yeah, obviously I got the Vikings here. I have zero questions about them. They're probably one of the only teams last week in a loss where I'm like, yep, good, got it. We'll see you guys in December. Just stay healthy, basically. Got no reservations about the Vikings anymore. Rams are, Kupp should be back. Obviously they're on a short week, but Rams just aren't looking the same. And the Vikings, I think, are rolling. I mean, they're a couple plays away from staying undefeated.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Aaron. I'm going with Minnesota as well. I think what we confirmed is that they're a legit football team. I've been pretty high on them all year. Obviously fading them last week. I had been fading them until they lost. There's another team that I'm going to be doing that with this week. Spoiler alert. But they're a better football team than are the Rams. And going on the road, quote unquote, into SoFi doesn't really scare me a whole lot. Todd, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, man, I think the big thing from watching Minnesota is they're gritty. That's it, and that's going to get them a long way in the NFC North too. I think that was because there were times in that game, they started hot and then they cooled off significantly second quarter, kind of out of the gate in halftime and just fought their way back into it tooth and nail. So I'm taking the Vikings here too. Something to note on the Rams: it's basically an open market for anybody right now in Los Angeles. Kupp's on the table, Stafford's on the table. Funny enough, there's been rumors that he could be potentially traded to the Vikings, which I find that fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah. So just something to kind of make note of here as we get into this game tomorrow, something to consider.
That's interesting. Where would another landing spot for him be? Like Miami? Like what do we?
That's the only thing the only thing I've seen is Stafford to the Vikings. And then Cooper Kupp to the Chiefs. That was something that was in conversations prior to the trade that happened this morning. The Rams wanted at bare minimum a second round plus an additional pick. Kansas City wasn't willing to do that. And then I've heard similar conversations for Cooper Kupp with Pittsburgh as well. It's another one that's kind of been rolling around as Pittsburgh's looking for another wide receiver to add to whatever that offense is. So just something to note.
I don't see how Stafford could work anywhere. Honestly, the only team that it would make any sense is like Pittsburgh, and then just say fuck it.
Yeah.
Oh, getting Stafford to the Steelers.
Like you're paying a combined $1.3 million to the quarterback room or something stupid. Like, just throw another match in the fight. Who cares? You don't care about that position anyway. You still managed to win somehow.
Yeah.
Even when it was Ben Roethlisberger doing the park and bark, like they haven't had good quarterback play for like 10 years and they keep winning.
Yeah, it's been like since 2017, 18 when they really did. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean,
Roethlisberger was their last, but he wasn't really that great for the last 4 to 5 years. If we're being honest.
Yeah. No, he kind of got dead arm towards the end there.
Yeah.
Am I crazy to think that a second rounder for Cooper Kupp seems light?
I think in today's NFL, yeah. I don't think that the injury history. I don't know what the salary cap implication is. I think a lot of it depends on the deal he has.
It would be pretty significant. Yeah, because Kupp got an extension right after the Super Bowl, and that was like a 7 or 8 or like an 8-year extension. So you'd be eating a lot of that.
And the other thing too is the Rams are looking to unload to kind of hit the reset button. They're like, hey, this worked. We won a Super Bowl. Fortunately, all these guys are coming towards the end here. So if you're the other team, it's like, all right, well, if I hold out for a year, he might just get cut and I can just sign him anyway and not have to give anything up.
Yeah, so the Rams are ready to just take value.
Yes, right. They're sellers right now.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Just market, yeah.
You're a classy son of a bitch right now.
I'm hating tonight.
It's just the market.
Bitches. Oh, fantastic!
Made out of your mother's pubic hair.
Chad, get your picks in. Throw your name as well, Ariel. I appreciate you throwing the name in there. Helps me out over here.
Sorry about that, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Moving on. First game of the 1:00 slate on our list. Let's go ahead and get this one out of the way. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles going into Paycor Stadium to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. 1:00 game was supposed to be a 4:25. That game got downgraded to a 1:00 based on the records there. I get it. The Bengals are going with the whiteout this week. Joe Burrow, when asked if he is excited about playing in the white helmets or the white uniforms, if it does anything for him, he said, no, not at all. I literally would play in my practice jersey. Doesn't do anything for me. So real quick before we get into it, while we've got the Ohio panel on here, at least the Ohio NFL panel on here, Aaron, I'm interested as an outside perspective, takeaways from what you saw the Bengals do or not do rather on Sunday.
Yeah, I think probably interesting perspective from opposite you guys, because I know you guys are probably, won 2 in a row, won 3 of 4 or something like that, I think.
Yep.
I don't really view the Bengals as contenders right now. As it stands halfway through the season, I think they should be. I think their offense is a top unit in the league. That defense doesn't do a whole lot for me, but frankly, we're looking at a team right now that has won 3 games against teams that have combined for 4 wins. Like none of them are that impressive. And they're just not they didn't really move the ball that well against like the Browns kept shooting themselves in the foot. No shit. Like they've been their offense has been terrible all year. I know the Bengals haven't had the best defensive performance this season, but wouldn't read too much into that from Sunday just because of how inept the offense has been in Cleveland. And then the defense, of course, has been okay here, but certainly nothing like last year. And I know for division games, you can kind of throw the records out. And, it seems like the Browns defense always seemed to give Joe Burrow at least a little bit of a headache. But, he hit his spots, got T. Higgins going. They manufactured some touches on the outside for Jamar Chase, which is what this offense needs to do. And Chase Brown looked great. Like that's obviously needs to be the running back for you guys moving forward. But just the way the rest of the conference is shaking out until, I don't know, they have a pretty soft schedule coming up. But I don't really have the Bengals as a contender right now. And they're 3-4. I don't think that's that shocking.
Sure. Todd, takeaways from last week moving forward into this week, and who you taking?
Yeah, man. So I think the big thing I saw last week was having a full 100% healthy defensive line makes a significant difference for Cincinnati. Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill complement each other very well in terms of their style to get into the backfield or to attack the run. And just guilty by association, it makes Sam Hubbard a better player on the end. It kind of gives him an opportunity to play one-on-one or play in the flat. I think overall their defensive line played a really nice game. I am obviously, the Geno Stone injury looked a lot worse than I guess what it actually was. It just sounds like it's just like a bruised shin, even though it looked like he broke his shin in half. Yeah. I think the secondary was one of the things I saw where there just some inconsistencies and maybe even miscommunications in coverage. I saw Josh Newton out there for several plays Sunday, which I thought was interesting. He hasn't really gotten a lot of playing time until this week. So interested to see what that kind of turns into. Obviously, with Dax Hill going out for the season, there's an opportunity for him to get snaps. Looking forward, though, into Sunday, if I'm Cincinnati, I'm establishing the run right now against Philadelphia. I think that's a big thing that they need to kind of work on to open up the field a little bit more. I agree with Aaron 100%. Corey and you and I have talked about it. Chase Brown should be getting the majority of the touches as the way things currently stand. Zach Moss is an excellent third down pass protector. But in terms of the way that this offense flexes, I think Chase Brown is the best fit for running back right now. Yeah. I think getting the running game established early against Philadelphia then opens up the opportunity to mix it up down the field and get the tight ends involved again. That was something that didn't really happen Sunday, but I think Cleveland did a really nice job of establishing zone coverage against Cincinnati, especially in the first half. I think that's some of the best zone defense I've seen all year.
And which is atypical for Cleveland.
Right. So then, and I think it really hampered what the plan was getting into Cleveland and getting downfield, because once you plan all week for man coverage, which has kind of been the bread and butter even prior to Jim Schwartz being there, and then you don't get that, and then the zone turns into rush 5. Next thing you know, you're holding onto the ball for 5 seconds. That's 2 seconds too long in the NFL. So that was something I saw too, just holding onto the ball a long time.
Anybody.
But I am going to take the Bengals here this week. Interestingly enough, Ruler of the Jungle is a Fairfield High School graduate this week. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Angelo Dawkins, aka Gary Gordon. I think that'll be pretty cool to see him getting hyped up on the field. I mean, you and I know him. He's a super extreme, one of the nicest dudes ever, which I think is hilarious that he's in wrestling, but just never fit his personality. But yeah, I think get the run game established, make Jalen Hurts make mistakes on defense. I think that's going to be a big key for Cincinnati, continuing the pressure. A big thing I've seen from Philadelphia this year, and I'm not just pinning it on Jason Kelce being gone, but cohesion on the offensive line seems to be an opportunity for Philadelphia right now. So I'd be attacking Jalen Hurts, and he's good for a turnover pretty much every game, right? That's the way things currently stand. So I like to see him get to him pretty quick.
Aaron, who you taking?
I think what's interesting is I kind of have a unique perspective on this one, where these are the last two opponents that the Browns played. So I've seen the Eagles and the Bengals pretty extensively in the last 2 weeks. And I think the Bengals were just a tad better. I actually, Corey, you use this term a lot. What are the Eagles 4-2? They are fraudulent enemy number 1 to me.
Yeah, we've identified them, I think, as that the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
I mean, we certainly, I know, had the Cowboys early in the season, but the Eagles are frauds. I do not think that team is good. I think they're winning games, and there is something to be said about that. They're probably going to be in the playoffs if they, of course, if they continue at this trajectory. But we saw them kind of collapse pretty epically last year towards the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what Eagles team we get down the stretch anyway. but I was not really impressed at all with anything from the Eagles' perspective. I'll take the Bengals, but I think this is ultimately going to kind of be like an ugly game.
Yeah, I kind of align with that line of thinking here, Aaron. Ugly game. And I don't know, Joe Burrow kind of put it best when asked about it. Are you concerned about this offense and lack of production over the last couple of weeks? And he said, well, we were 1-4 with an offense lighting it up. And then now we're 2-0 and we're talking about the offensive struggles. So I'd rather be 2-0 and the offense struggles every single time. But I think is right. And, good teams, great teams, they find a way to win. The records are what they say they are. And, the Giants and the Browns are who they are. We understand that. But a win in the NFL is a win. Nonetheless, they all count the same when it comes to playoff seeding. It doesn't matter who you beat. Strength of schedule doesn't really matter. Obviously, conference record does. But, I think I align with Todd what you're saying there from an offensive perspective and getting in the run game going. I think what we really need to see out of this offense is that next player, that next guy to step up. Who is that going to be? Earlier in the season with T. Higgins banged up, obviously it was Mike Gesicki stepping up and the tight end room in general, getting a lot of that production. And maybe it's still the tight end room. But Andre Yoshivas, scheming to make, get him open more often, or whether that's dropping Jamar Chase into the slot and getting Jermaine Burton involved in this offense in some way.
Yeah, one catch this year so far, kind of weird.
And a deep ball catch as
right.
well. He is a guy that can kind of take the lid off of things. And you put 3 sprinters out there, 3 guys that are vertical threats, 3 guys that can make contested catches. That excites me as a fan. I think this is an ugly game too, Aaron. I'm with you on that one. And I do think that benefits the Bengals because I do think they are better coached, which I say with the greatest.
Too, right?
I am taking the Bengals. Yeah, I am taking the Bengals.
No, I'm sorry. The game is in Cincy.
It is in Cincy.
Yeah,
it is.
I think that's part of the other reason I'm taking the Bengals here. I think if this is in Philly, I think I probably would have taken the Eagles.
No, not sure who this is, but you are only 2 picks behind.
We've Tez.
Tez, what's up, Tez? We have talked the Thursday night game, and this is the first of the 1:00 Philly at Cincinnati. But no, Todd, I think your point on the defensive line is true. I mean, did we just simply not account for how injured this defensive line was? Like, is this defense kind of figuring things out? I don't know. I don't really – I saw a lot of talk about, well, when Jameis came in there, that offense was humming. Yeah. I'm not really, putting that on the defense a whole lot because that happens a lot in the NFL when you get a new quarterback that comes in that you didn't game plan for, that's third on the depth chart into the game. Like,
I know this is going to make no sense, but that game was – somehow not that close and somehow exactly that close.
Yeah, the score doesn't reflect on how the ebbs and flows of the game. Yeah,
exactly.
I think going into halftime, I was not happy at all. I was like, all the momentum is in Cleveland's hands going into halftime. And then obviously coming out, the Bengals started to kind of assert themselves. I think the offense made good adjustments going from like what Todd said. Cleveland typically is we're going to man up. We've got all of the guys in the secondary that we can play with all of your best receivers. We're fine with that. And I think that's what they went into this game expecting. Schwartz obviously really good at what he does and schemed otherwise. And I don't think Zach Taylor was really ready for that and didn't really make those adjustments until the second half to when you started to see Joe Burrow get into that rhythm, get that passing game going.
Yeah. I think one thing you'll see, especially from this matchup or what we saw last week in that matchup, is what you just said with the secondary. You can man up, but in today's NFL, like, you're going to be able to take your shots. And because the Bengals have invested so much in that offensive line, you have more of a time to take those shots. So yeah, obviously the defense is going to win some, but you certainly saw Joe Burrow make those connections to Higgins downfield in the third quarter where they're going to win some of those matchups too. And you live to fight that way. But when the Browns can't put points up on offense, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I don't know how much investment I would or stock I'm putting into the fact that they were able to shut down Nick Chubb, 11 carries, 22 yards. I mean, obviously his first game back, he did get a touchdown, but first game back, I don't know. Back-to-back games though, and even to the Ravens game, I think they did a good job pretty much up until that last run from Saquon, or I'm sorry, from Derrick Henry. Looking ahead to next week. The run from Derrick Henry, they pretty much bottled him up pretty good. I thought they did a good job containing the run. So the defense might be starting to figure things out. Only time will really tell. But the Bengals now minus odds to make the playoffs, which is kind of crazy. I am taking them here at home in the whiteout, in the icy whites, as they call them. All right, moving forward, let's stick in the division here where we all are Cleveland fans this week, as the Ratbirds from Shittown go into Huntington Bank Field, which is just a weird thing to say, in Cleveland, and take on the Jameis Winston-led Cleveland Browns.
Why? What happened?
Yeah, lot to unpack there. Obviously, Deshaun Watson going down with a season-ending injury. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't spend a little bit of time talking about the injury, the reaction, both from the stadium and from players afterwards. Aaron, obviously, this is your team.
Did something occur?
Yeah, buddy. It sure did. Why don't you go ahead and take this one?
It's being overblown.
Yeah.
Couple things here. This narrative that like the entire stadium like stood up and cheered and was like, yes, like it's fucking Gladiator is not really what happened. Yeah, there was a group of fans that were cheering, and I'll table that for right now and get back to it. We saw obviously Deshaun Watson go down with a season-ending injury, one of the more gruesome injuries I've seen on replay, where it's like, oh shit, I can pinpoint the exact frame where the
identical to Aaron Rodgers last year.
Yeah. So that's pretty
gross.
Non-contact injuries like that are always bad. The Browns players obviously reacting to the subset of fans in the stadium that were booing. There is a lot to unpack here, because from a player's perspective, I understand you don't boo for injury. That is like, but I also don't think that's what was happening, even with the subset of fans that were cheering, or cheering for injury, if you will. There has been a lot of people in Cleveland who have had to fight with their own morality to watch football on Sunday, and they've gotten it nationally, locally, whatever that might be. They've taken their lumps for that. There is something to me here that makes me think. I think a lot of the reason that Browns fans were cheering were not having to have a moral complication between watching their team anymore. It's amazing to me how the second that DTR came in, there was this just like, because I certainly wasn't somebody who was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's.
It was Andy Dufresne getting through the shit tunnel into the rain.
Exactly, and I think there is some cheering to be had with that, because I have loved watching this team my entire life, even for the shit that they've put out there, and sticking by this team, and now having this like aha moment of fuck yeah, let's watch this team, even though they're putting in some of the worst football on tape I've ever seen. So now let's turn over to the players who are on this like God-fearing mission to like slam the fans for, frankly, I'm not really sure, especially because from a national perspective, saw it everywhere. Everyone was cheering for the most part, or at least in the circles that I saw. I was telling you guys, I'm not going to hold the fans in the stands to a higher bar than the rest of the people. If what happened outside of the stadium is bad, what happened inside the stadium is about the same. For the players, though, frankly, a little embarrassing, and I'll borrow the youth phrase cringe. It was cringe. Like, I didn't get it. Like I understand they're like protecting their teammate and everything like that, but we've been fans of this team long before you got here. We'll be fans of this team long after you're gone.
Right.
Like, you're putting shit film on tape right now. You guys have given up basically entirely. We're spending some of the most cash in the NFL. I've been forced this product on the field by ownership. To hell with you. Fuck off. We'll respond how we want to respond until you put a product on the field. I'm taking
Interesting.
Sorry, you're what?
I'm taking the Ravens.
I think it's interesting. I guess I've never even thought about it from the perspective of like, I know you've discussed kind of ad nauseum at this point of like, the moral dilemma of like, I love the Browns. Do I cheer for them because of who is at the quarter? I guess I didn't think about it of like a sigh of relief of like, all right, well, I can just, there's no stigma. Yeah, there's no stigma involved anymore. And I want to ask too, what do you think about Ken Dorsey taking over the play calling?
It's weird. I hate it. That's what Stefanski does. He hasn't given it up forever. He's a 2-time coach of the year. Ken Dorsey was fired in the middle of the season last year. It's a 5-alarm bell going off in Cleveland right now. I don't know whose jobs are safe. It's going to be one of those seasons where once the season's over, there's going to be a lot of quotes that didn't leak during the season. It's going to be wild. And Hard Knocks is in town, so this will be a fun one.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. When I saw that this afternoon, I'm like, this is the same guy that got fired mid-season last year because Buffalo couldn't move the ball down the field with Josh Allen, right? Like that was a kind of a centerpiece of that. So I thought that was kind of odd too. I'm also taking the Ravens. This offense, I will say I did think so. Tez Walker came off of IR.
Who dis?
It's got to be Tez. I would assume it's Tez. Tez, anytime any pick that you put in, just put your beautiful name
right
next
there.
to it. Put your name next to it, buddy.
Some technical difficulties.
Yeah, so we can't see anything.
It just says Facebook
user. Tez Walker came off injured reserve. I thought Baltimore was actually going to use him in this game, and he barely sniffed the field. Kind of surprised about that. Didn't matter because Derrick Henry ran for 170 yards again. But I do think once maybe him and Lamar Jackson get on the same wave, I think Tez Walker is probably one of the more undervalued picks in this draft in terms of what his production kind of will translate to in the league. So that bothers me a little bit. Just adding another piece to whatever. I don't want to call the Ravens offense an arsenal because right now it's just kind of a 2-man show, but everything is clicking in Baltimore right now.
Rashad Bateman is,
yeah, no, but that's what, but it's been a different receiver almost every week of who's popped off, right? Like, you had a week where thing?
Like sure. you have Lamar,
yeah, like for everybody except for us, but everybody except for us, right? That's what I'm alluding to, or what I'm trying to like walk around is like they're fucking good and it's annoying because like you can't pinpoint on like why they're being successful except for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
he's playing out of his mind. He's playing absolutely out of his mind. Like
the one thing that I do get joy out of is that they're doing it in week 7 and not week 16. And so that feels good. That just like, hey, it can't really get that much better. Like they can't get that much better on offense, right?
They're scoring 40 points a game at will right now. That's
right.
That's the part where like I'm frustrated as a fan of a team in the AFC. It's very frustrating to watch them and be like, fuck, again? Mm-hmm. And then they get the ball back and you're like, holy shit, again? Like it just.
Hey, Todd, other good news. You're literally one good snap away from beating them. So.
Right. Yeah. It's a good piece to feel behind it. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, we talked about, and Corey, you and I were on the same page of this. Like, I didn't think Derrick Henry would be an ounce of an issue in the NFL. I just kind of assumed that he was chasing a ring. He's damn near close to 1,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, already. He's the exception to the rule at the running back position.
Yeah, he's Mike Evans.
Yeah, he's the Mike Evans of running backs, which is frankly, maybe more impressive just because of the physical demand of the position.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that take anything away
Sure.
from Mike Evans, but maybe we've been too light on Derrick Henry.
So you're taking the Ravens. Aaron, you're taking the Ravens.
I didn't want to listen. This was my Super Bowl team in the AFC. I was very concerned at the start of the season. They're humming. NFC, I had the Lions. Like that.
Yeah.
Everything looks good so far. So
we're on track.
I did want to kind of get a little bit of shocker. I have an opinion on the Deshaun Watson. Yeah, on the Deshaun Watson thing. And I think that initially I had the reaction of, oh, that's fucked up. Like I see it in the chat, like it's fucked up if the fans are actually cheering if he's hurt. And I think initially I did have that reaction. And then even like Jameis, when he came out and said something, I was like, I get where he's coming from. I get why he says that. Yeah. And anytime Jameis speaks, I usually listen because I really like the way that Jameis speaks. I like kind of how he delivers thought verbally.
Especially with those cool glasses.
Yeah, he's a preacher.
He kind of if he started a church, I'd go.
He's a preacher. Yeah. I'm not saying it in a negative context either. Like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
it's that cadence of talk.
Yeah. And I think after having a few days to think about it, I'm kind of with Aaron. I don't put anything against the fans for any reaction that they have to that situation. I actually think it's inexcusable for the players to make a stand like that.
Great to make a stand early in the season and give a shit about it.
I think it would have been great to, if you have an opinion on it, for Myles Garrett to say that Deshaun Watson has been a model citizen is the biggest crock of shit that I have ever heard in my life.
Tone deaf, yeah. And I love Myles, and even that, I have no defense of that, Corey. I got nothing for you here.
Yeah, I love Myles Garrett too. I really, really do. I think Myles Garrett's fantastic, and even though he's like the bane of my existence, like even my favorite player in the NFL, Joe Burrow, and Myles Garrett are homies. Like they get along really well.
Yeah.
And I think that just kind of talks to who Myles usually, like who he really is. And I think that deep down, he is a good guy. I think he just had a blind spot here. And I think it was an emotional reaction. I think there's a difference between
players, like the camaraderie in the locker room type of relationship that you have being a teammate is way different.
I think, I heard a couple of really good points that I'll try and paraphrase here before we move on. But this is the biggest story of the week. I think it would be silly not to spend time on this. One was Michelle Beadle, and she had said that the fans pay for the right to react the way that they react and handle that situation in whatever way they want to handle that situation, similarly to the way Deshaun Watson paid for the right to not go through legal battles. Similarly, the way he paid 24 women not to have issue with this any longer. Right? And then the outside of that, the other point was by Nick Wright, a guy that I actually, over the last couple of years, have really enjoyed when Nick Wright speaks. I think he does a really good job. I hate that he's just a Patrick Mahomes knob slobber. Mahomes Mountain is probably one of the most annoying fucking things I've ever seen, being that he's probably not even a top 10 quarterback this year.
He's like this, like how analytics have gotten huge in sports. He's like if Skip Bayless had like sabermetrics.
If Skip Bayless was articulate and also had a lot of really
thoughtful
good points.
Thoughtful, just in general,
So the point that Nick Wright had made was essentially that the most fucked up part about this is that the only reason that the players are standing up with Deshaun Watson is because the victims were women. If Deshaun Watson had violated 24 children, there would not be this type of response from the locker room. If Deshaun Watson had violated 24 men, this would not be the response in the locker room. It simply would not. All three of us have been in very masculine dominated environments, sports, locker rooms in general. It would not. If they were men, it would not be tolerated. It wouldn't.
No.
but it is tolerated because of who the victims are. Whether you want to accept that or not, that is the way it is. And
No,
so
100%. And I'll repeat the point I made, which I don't want to be lost, is I don't necessarily think people were cheering for the injury necessarily and not just for the situation.
I think it's probably both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he fell to the ground and everyone was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of took everyone a minute to be like, shit, DTR's warming up on the sideline. Like, we're still in this game. This is actually a good, like, every Browns fan I was talking to was like, this is actually good for us. If we're being honest, we have been wanting this guy to be benched for weeks.
I was wanting to play against Deshaun Watson last week.
I know.
I didn't want to go against James.
We're not allowed to cheer for a better guy coming off the bench and giving us an actual shot in the arm and chance to win this fucking football game in front of us.
They're cheering because they had the worst quarterback in the league benched.
Right.
Whether it was due to injury or not, the worst quarterback in the league was no longer their quarterback. And I think that is
the Browns had coming home after 2 weeks of shit play on the road, knew the hornet's nest they were walking into.
Yeah.
They knew what the fans were like, get this guy the fuck off the field. We didn't want it to be through injury. It just happened to be through injury.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm over that shit with the player. Like, fuck off. I got nothing to apologize for.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're all pat through the first 3 games here. We got 13 more to go with no buys this week. The panel is Vikings, Bengals, Ravens. Moving on to a team that looks to be really hitting their stride, winning in multiple ways, going against a team that seems to be putting up the for sale sign in the locker room. Tennessee Titans headed into Motown to take on MCDC and the Detroit Lions. Vibes are hot right here in Detroit, boys and girls. Coming off a absolute smackdown of Dallas and then moving on to knock off the undefeated division rival Minnesota Vikings. There was a lot of concern what was going to be the kind of the response with Aiden Hutchinson being knocked out for the year. I think that there are still questions about pass rush. I think the Lions are the type of team that, might go out and get somebody, whether it be a Zadarius Smith, whether it be a Max Crosby. I don't know about Max Crosby. That ticket price seems pretty
rich. Smith seems like a fair one though.
Zadarius would be a really good pick.
It's a 1-year contract, right? If I'm not mistaken, for Zadarius Smith, you're just basically getting him on loan for the rest of the season.
Takes 2 to tango in order to get a trade done. But I think Max Crosby, the only problem with that is that you've just expended yourself over like 4 contracts and they continue to extend their own guys, which is great. It just would be difficult, I think, for the Lions. Also saw something where a 2nd-round pick to get Trey Hendrickson is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. The Bengals, if you call and offer them a 2nd-round pick, they hang up the phone, disconnect it, and block the number. It's the best defensive player on a struggling defense. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, All right, Titans moving into Detroit. I don't know if we got to spend a whole lot of time on this one. I am taking the Lions. Aaron, who you got?
I got the Lions 2 weeks ago off the bye, said this team's going to separate themselves as the class of the NFC. They've done so. Lions, I'm just going to keep taking them because I'll be on the plus side of money. Just go ahead and mark that down through the whole Excel sheet. Just Lions.
Gotcha. All right. Toddy?
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions. It's the best locker room in the league right now, fellas. It's hard to beat a team when everybody in the locker room is firing. So
yeah.
Brian Branch. Yeah. Also, Brian Branch has played some of the best defensive back in the league thus far through this season. I know like Lions Twitter's kind of giving him his flowers. I don't know if the NFL world is on notice for how good he plays defensive back. And I don't want to put him into a position because he plays every position in the secondary.
And that's kind of when we talk about the Lions making a move at the trade deadline is like, I think that Brad Holmes really values his draft capital. And the reason being he's really good at drafting. And so
I think I think it was Ari that was like, how the hell did Brian Branch get drafted in the 2nd round?
Yeah.
Like devil's advocate, this is the year that they were close last year and they're close this year. If you are that confident in your ability to draft, aren't you more willing to give up the capital to get proven talent?
I could look at it both ways.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just devil's advocate for that point.
Yeah, no, go get a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, go get it.
Yeah, and I think that Lions obviously have the capabilities to kind of load up and go get it this year,
You have like a
especially
70%
since
hit rate from your last 3 drafts. Like just
yeah,
go
and
for
I
it.
mean you've got all your big guys paid. You've paid everybody. The only one that you haven't is Aiden Hutchinson, and sorry to say it, he just got cheaper.
Yep.
Which sucks for Hutch because he's having an insane year.
He was.
But you know what's odd? You know what's crazy is Hutchinson can come back if they make it to the Super Bowl. Technically, that would be wild. That would be wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. All right, moving on. This game doesn't really do anything for me either. I feel like we've got a lot of easy picks this week. Which means that we have none. We have the Cardinals going into South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins. I'll go ahead and lead this one off here. I'm taking the Cardinals. This offense is heating up. Kyler is a fantasy dream. I don't know if he's necessarily – hey, and it's before Thanksgiving. So take the Cardinals while you can, boys. Take the Cardinals while you can. Todd, who you got?
Tua's coming back this week, fellas. I think that's – he is. He's playing.
Okay. All right. Dude,
he is surprisingly the most important player in the league.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to have to say that this year. I didn't think that he was going to come back.
I think it's like his response to the Guardian cap thing. Did you see this? They said
he handled that whole interview was horrendous for him.
They said, "Are you considering wearing a Guardian cap?" He said, "No." They said, "Any reason for that?" He said, "Just personal choice." Like, give a little bit of just talk to that, Tua. Like, can you speak to that a little bit, please? Can you just say, like, I understand why you would ask that or something like that, but like, seemed very defensive about that. The amount of fucked up TikToks that I have seen correlating Tua to radio is ridiculous.
Oh, dude, don't. I've seen them because they did it to Denzel Ward when he got his concussion in training camp. It's like the GM coming down to be like,
it's so horrible.
Let me get you a job, kid.
Where radio's like asking them if the pants he has picked out look good over the phone. Tua. It's just fucked up.
It's horrible. Up. Yeah.
Yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. really went simple Jack there, huh?
Dude, he did. He can't go back.
Nope. Ruined his career. Ended up in a Diddy party.
That's not what did it, Todd.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to get.
Anyways,
just didn't want to go down that road. I'm taking the Cardinals as well. I look even if Tua comes back, like it doesn't matter to me right now with the Dolphins. That's Corey, I just feel like I owe you some flowers and just saying that you were about 97% right about Mike McDaniel in terms of what he is as a head coach in the league. I mean, it's just no adjustment, forcing the offense down people's throats. They should have beat the Colts. They stopped running the ball and they were running all over him. I don't know if it's an ego thing for Mike McDaniel or what, but just it's tough to be if you're a Dolphins fan, which there's a lot of bad ones out there. I'm sure it's tough sledding right now.
Yeah, this is a situational flop for me. I was fully prepared to walk in here and take the Cardinals, but I think it's a lot closer than the way that you guys are describing it. So I think this is a good one to flop on. And I really do think situationally Tua is the most important person to his situation per team.
MVP.
It's wild to me. And it's probably exactly for what you guys just said. It's Mike McDaniel can't make any adjustments. Well, luckily this week he's not going to have to make a ton because the guy who, or as I will say, the straw that stirs the drink over there in Miami is back in the fucking cup, and he is for this week. And I wanted to see it for a week at least, but I'm just going to fade you guys on this one, and I'm going to take the Dolphins.
It's a good one, smart one. Probably one of the only ones for the week, honestly.
Yeah,
if you're going to pick one to fade.
Yeah. And again, fully think the Cardinals will win this game.
It's a good one to fade. One that gets a little bit more interesting. I think this is probably one of the harder ones to pick. I think we've got probably about 3 or 4 of these games that are going to be a little bit more. There's a little bit more nuance. This is one of them, but for all the wrong reasons. We've got Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets taking on the up and coming star Drake May and the New England Patriots. Todd, what are we looking for in this game, or are we watching this game?
I believe it'll be a part of the ticket, so it'll be one of my 4 screens. It'll probably be the least viewed of the 4 screens for the afternoon. Mm-hmm. I'm taking the Jets just based on. I don't know if you guys watched Manning Cast Monday night, but Bill Belichick was pretty hard on Gerard Mayo in terms of how Gerard Mayo reacted to the roster. Yeah. Maybe a little bit personal. He called their defense soft, and he was a part of that coaching staff last year. Maybe he's not wrong. I don't know. But they just got shellacked by the Jags. Manhandled defensively in that game. I think the biggest hindrance in Aaron Rodgers' offense and the Jets is they just have to catch the football.
Yeah.
A lot of dropsies. In that game.
They got to trade for Cooper Kupp now, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So what I'm saying is now you got to give up a second and a fourth to get Cooper Kupp in there, and then then they'll end up 8-9. Right? That's what I'm alluding to. I'm taking the Jets. Just I think the Patriots are a bottom 3 team in football. I'm not gonna pick them in any game. I got burned one time.
I'm just picturing. I think it's the hater wine, but now I'm just picturing Aaron Rodgers as the if you give a mouse a cookie, where he's like, well, yeah, I got Devontae Adams, but we'd be doing a lot better if we also.
We need Cooper Kupp.
We need.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I need my X. I got my Y. What do you want me to do?
I mean, this is a big week for Breece Hall, in my opinion. I think a lot of Breece Hall last week. He was a lot of fun to watch. As a dynasty owner of him, it's fantastic what he's able to do in that passing game, and that is something that I think is going to continue to be a big part of this offense because Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams are going to draw so much attention from pass defense. Breece Hall is going to continuously be an option, and when you get him in open space, good things happen. I got to see more out of Aaron Rodgers personally.
He's played bad.
He hasn't played well at all. There's been a lot of really bad throws, and that's not the norm for him.
He's pretty banged up too.
Yeah, he's dealing with a lot. So we need Percocet Aaron Rodgers. Okay, that's what we need, and we need to get the little white going. What you want, what you need, deep fade. I got you, man. That's what we need from Aaron Rodgers. Okay. That said, I am taking the Jets. I think that this is kind of and Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers back together again. Like they're gonna get jerked off, and that's just how it's gonna go. Big Jets win. Aaron.
Yeah, the Jets at this point last season had a better record with Zach Wilson and put up more points. The Jets suck. I'm still going to take them over the Patriots.
Fair enough. I think all riding in on the Jets in first class.
I do like your call with the Rodgers Adams though, because it's going to just be a 1:00 game against just a miserable team where you're going to look up and it's be like, yeah, they have 28 points, and then the game will finish like 28-17 because they just stop.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Other big story from the week, mismanagement of personnel by Todd Bowles on Monday Night Football. We got the Falcons and Kirk Cousins putting up a stinker on Sunday against the Seahawks, looking to rebound with a divisional matchup where they head into Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay to take on Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a tough one. There's a lot. Yeah. Go ahead. I
was just going to say, no, I was just agreeing with you. It's a tough one. There's a lot. I mean, I can name a couple, but I didn't mean to steal the floor. I was just agreeing with you.
No, there's a lot to unpack here because I think obviously the Buccaneers ran into the offensive buzzsaw that is the Baltimore Ravens. And I still think, though, that there have been some defensive concerns from Tampa Bay throughout the season. I think to say that they will not have some sort of offensive drawback would be silly. Don't put Tampa Bay. Yeah. I mean, with Chris Godwin going out, like, I think that'd just be crazy.
And Mike Evans.
Well, Mike Evans is questionable, but it doesn't. After seeing him Sunday, I would be shocked if he plays.
Everything I read is that they're very likely not going to bring him back until after the bye week.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Which is brutal. And you look at a team like Tampa Bay, came out so hot, feeling really good about the season, to have your two main horses in the wide receiver stable go down with lame legs, if you will, literally. Does that put Tampa in a position to go after a guy like Cooper Kupp?
I think it's a fair question. I would, man, you are already paying so much money to that wide receiver room.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, I've felt like since Tom Brady's been gone, I feel like Tampa Bay has leaned more towards like restarting than like contending. They just keep winning in the worst division, right? That's kind of the way that things have been for them.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why do you re-sign Baker Mayfield?
No, I'm just getting like that's my perception of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's where I saw things going after after Brady retired. I was like, well, they're going to hard reset. They didn't fire Todd Bowles because he can basically Lovie Smithy into a top 10 pick, right? And then they won the division, and then they won a playoff game last year, right? They beat the Eagles in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I agree with Aaron. There's so much money tied into that wide receiver room that it's hard to. You would have to make other moves around your roster to make that fit.
I don't think you would, because I think like the Rams would be okay with absorbing most of Cooper Kupp's contract just to get some kind of capital back for him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that's what the Rams will end up doing if and when they move some of these pieces this year. You know what we've talked about, Stafford potentially getting traded. We've talked about obviously Cooper Kupp being traded. Like they're gonna be willing to take some of that payroll moving on. Sure. Tez, I know you're coming in here saying Cooper Kupp staying and stop all this shop. It just everything is pointing towards the Rams.
First.
yeah. Everything is pointing towards the Rams being sellers at the deadline, which is in Thursday? When is that, next Thursday?
I mean, the report was they were going to trade him to Kansas City and they couldn't come to agreement on compensation. Yeah. But that means they're shopping him.
Yeah, 100%.
But I did look. He's got 2 years after this, and I think honestly at this point now it's more important to. And I love that Spotrac does this. What's his percentage of the cap? Next year it's 10.9, and then it's 9.3.
Yeah.
So it's not like but still not nothing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe so, right? Maybe that is the answer, is that you go out and get a guy like that. You give some consistency, because you look, that wide receiver room is Sterling Shepard and Jaden McMillan, right? And he's a rookie.
You know what? We're talking about trade deadline. We're talking about wide receivers getting shopped right now. A team that's been selling is Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. They just sold one.
Todd, we need to bring them home. We need to get the Migos back together, and it's time for Tyler Boyd to come on back home to Cincinnati and just give this offensive spark. Bring it back. We brought Von Bell back.
Right.
Why not bring Tyler Boyd back home? Just
run it back, baby.
One more again.
Let's do it one more. Probably get him for like a jerk off 7th or something.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And you know that there's value. He knows the offense. There's not a whole lot to pick up.
He's still running it, right? He's still running that offense right now.
Yeah. He knows how to get to the facility. He probably still has a fucking house there.
I'm taking the Falcons here in a bounce back week. It's time for Kirk to come back and be who he can be. That's how I'll put it.
It was one of the dumbest things I was about to say, and now I will. He knows what the tap water tastes like, and nothing makes you feel like home when you taste the tap water.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
saying.
There you go. Beautiful Hamilton City water.
Some of the best in the United States, buddy.
That's right. All right, Falcons, Bucks. Who you guys got?
I got the Falcons.
Yeah, so we were talking about it, Corey. Bunch of things in this game, but one of the things is Falcons steamrolled him last time, and often not steamrolled him, but that was that amazing Thursday night game where Kirk threw for 500 yards. I oftentimes want to take the other team, especially in a divisional matchup like this for the second game. But with the injuries, I'm with Todd. I gotta go with the Falcons.
Tez needs your pick as well, but as of right now,
He
it
just-
seems that
He just took the Falcons.
it seems everybody, the entire chat and panel, fading Tampa
Shit.
Bay.
I want to go with the Bucks.
Shit.
This is I just don't feel like this is the one to fade. All the vibes are off right now in Tampa.
Yeah, they got
where
hit by
does
a fucking hurricane, guys.
yeah, well,
They cleaned up. Yeah, they're fine. They're gonna.
Next one, I feel like we're all going to be pretty simpatico on as well. This is crazy. 2 weeks in London and then coming back to play a home game. The Jaguars hosting the Green Bay Packers. This one's pretty simple for me as well. I'm going to put their victory last week in London on the fact that they played a terrible team, that they were there for 2 weeks. This is going to be ugly, in my opinion. Look for Jordan Love to kind of at least poke his head into the MVP conversation, just based off of numbers that he's going to put up in this one. I'm taking the Packers with an easy win in Jacksonville. Todd,
I'm with you, dude. I think the big thing, if we're gonna even sniff a Jordan Love conversation, he's gotta slow down on the turnovers. He's averaging 2 picks a game right now, and
but Todd, Patrick Mahomes leads the league in turnovers, and yet is the Vegas favorite for MVP. What do you mean?
Well, he also I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll talk about it real quick. That fucking fake step out of bounds move that he pulled Sunday,
dude.
I about flipped my coffee table when he did it.
Todd obviously alluding to the run down the sideline that caused Tom Brady to reach through the broadcast booth and physically jerk off Patrick Mahomes as he basically faked going out of bounds to gain another 25 yards.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's the GOAT, dude. He's the best in the league. Because people are scared to get penalties against him.
Who was I talking about? No.
Yeah.
This is Patrick Mahomes' NFL. This is not anybody else's NFL right now. That move to me, because so what happens in that circumstance? If you push him out of bounds, that's 15 yards.
Mm-hmm. Ask Joseph Asai.
Right. I've been down. I'm speaking off a specific example. But he ran for like 12. So really, in theory, you just let him keep running until he decides to go out of bounds in that circumstance. I have a feeling that if any other quarterback tries that move, it'll come up as like, we might have to make a rule about this.
No, I think that's exactly it, Todd. I think you nailed it. You remember that one play where it was like Bill Belichick kept taking delay of games on a punt against the Jets because it killed like 3 minutes of clock, forcing him to take a timeout. It's just someone taking advantage of the rules, and I hate it. It sucks, but they'll make a rule change about it, and I think it's just as simple as that.
Yeah,
I don't think it'll come up that much.
Same thing,
but it was infuriating.
Right? Yeah, I like when he did it.
This fucking asshole.
And I was like, "Is that first? I was like, is that legal?" And then Mary's like, "What did he do?" I'm like, "Well, he faked going out of bounds." She's like, "Do people do that?" I'm like, "No one ever thinks to do that. Only a quarterback can make that make sense."
Yeah.
To go either direction, right? There's not very
wide receiver.
Running back does that. There. Yeah, wide receiver, running back, tight end, fumble recovery. You make that fake, you're getting clobbered going out of bounds anyway. Right? The quarterback's the only one that can do that.
The biggest thing that the most frustrating part, and we are completely off topic. This is what happens when Bobby sleeps through the show. The most infuriating part about the entire thing is that the just absolute fellatio that occurred because of what he did. Like just talking about him as if he's just such an athlete because of that move. And that's not what happened. And we all know that that's not what happened.
Hey, it took
Tom
advantage.
Brady can't criticize the refs even if he wanted to. It's bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
So he has to be like, what a huge penis this guy has.
as soon as they went off the air, he just that fucking cocksucker. I can't believe I did that shit. I can't believe I never thought of that. Then they get back.
We got to get Brady out of the booth. I'm serious. Brady sucks in the booth.
Really? I enjoy him. No, I enjoy it. I like Tom Brady.
Yeah, I don't feel that. Are you just like a massive Greg Olsen fan and like harboring resentment?
I mean, Greg Olsen is definitely the better announcer, but no, I think just like what Brady is allowed to do in the booth in and of itself should be disqualifying for your lead anchor. He's a partial owner of the Raiders. He has restrictions on what he can and can't say in the booth. Because he is an NFL owner, so he follows. Right. He has to fall under those rules. He's not allowed to critique the refs. He's not allowed to talk to the players before the game, attend pregame meetings. Can't do it.
Yeah, so he's just going in there and going.
He's just winging it. He's just going. He's just showing up there every week. I'm like, don't know.
I actually
fuck me,
right? I kind of like it though. I just like because I'm sure we've all been at a point in our lives where like you're supposed to be prepared to have some sort of conversation, and then you start thinking about it, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna let it ride, and then you just go in there and just knock it out and crush it. Tom Brady gets to do that every Sunday, and that's all just based off of his knowledge of football. I don't hate it. I actually like listening to him as well. I have no qualms with.
I mean, he's a fucking savant. I mean, he is,
and he's got the most.
Who's jerking off who now, Corey?
He's the GOAT, dude. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep having a dream where I'm laying on the beach and Tom Brady leans in to kiss me, and I don't stop him, but it's
that fucking wine Aaron was drinking. Really, that's full of hate in that.
It's got so much. I gotta refill my hate, so I'll be right back.
Full disclosure, I don't have that fantasy. That's a reference to The Office. Andy Bernard referring to Brad Pitt. Maybe I do. Who knows? I think we're all taking the Packers here, though, as we completely went off the rails.
Bobby would have allowed it. To be fair,
he would have. He would have joined right in. And here's the thing. I'm pretty sure this is Tez. It cracks me up how much y'all hate him, but I get it. If he was in my division, I would hate him too. It's not so much that. At this point, what it is like the talk of Patrick Mahomes this season is not justified. He's not playing good football. Like, can we just objectively look at what he's doing from a statistic standpoint? The Kansas City Chiefs are winning football games. They're finding ways to win. All of that is true. And they should be a Super Bowl favorite, as they are, sitting right now, undefeated. That should be the case, 6-0. He's not playing good football. He has more interceptions than he does touchdown passes. And injuries, whatever. Tom Brady put it best actually in the booth on Sunday in that game. This is the NFL. I don't care about any excuses about injuries. I simply don't. I don't acknowledge any of it. It's the NFL. Injuries are part of the game. So it's not an excuse. So Patrick Mahomes doesn't get that. The San Francisco 49ers certainly don't get that. The Dallas Cowboys certainly don't get that. Coincidentally, we're going to be talking about two of those teams here very soon. But Patrick Mahomes is not he's not playing well right now. It's not good. It's not good quarterbacking. So
is that who we're hating on? Sorry, I missed it.
No, it's just Ted's just talking about it's funny that we all hate him, but he gets it. Like if he was in his conference, he probably would too. And I think the most frustrating thing for me is just the constant, and I think what a lot of fans are just tired of, I think it is fatigue, Mahomes fatigue, is the constant praise that he gets even when he's not playing well.
Well, I know it's jumping ahead, but just to keep it rolling, let's just roll into the Chiefs game here because I kind of want to jump in here and have a couple points. Like
Chiefs at Raiders in Vegas.
I've said this on multiple podcasts for us, but what Patrick Mahomes doing right now is the NFL equivalent of what LeBron James did in basically the middle part of his career, middle to now, where the regular season doesn't really matter. And here's the thing: LeBron James suffered in terms of I won't say suffered, conceded MVPs in my opinion for the sake of deep playoff runs. And I think like it's not like Mahomes is just bad now. He's playing like, don't get me wrong, statistically, this is one of his worst seasons, but they're also undefeated. So I'm just not like, I'm not concerned about his play. I'm not worried about it. Like, yeah, the receiver position is worse than it's been, but he's made that work. It's like they are constantly trying to make it harder for him almost in terms of, all right, well, you did it with Tyreek Hill. That's pretty cool. Let's take that away. All right, Rashee Rice is pretty good. Well, he's gone. Here's the Savior Worthy guy. We'll
by your own doing.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like the NFL is doing it by any means. Right. But not worried about it at all. They're going to be in the playoffs, and once it gets to playoff season, it's going to be like, again, the LeBron thing when he got into the playoffs, and it was like, oh shit, he's a 4 seed. It doesn't matter. They're going to be a 1 seed probably or a 2 seed based on where they're at now.
Yeah, but real they're not winning football. I think the thing I'm frustrated, they're not winning football games because of him though. No, but right. I hear you. So what? No, I'm just saying like that's the frustrating point is that they're 6-0, sorry. And he's not the centerpiece of why they're winning.
Do you think they would be playing better right now if Sam Darnold was on that team? Statistically, why Sam Darnold's having a better season than Patrick Mahomes?
Do I think they would play better?
Do you think they would be undefeated?
Probably.
Yeah, it's a top 5 defense. It's a top 5 defense.
I don't know. I think
any points.
Let me put it. I still think the Bengals are better than them.
And they're also getting. And they're also they're getting the ball
at home.
on. They're getting the ball on the opposite side of the field. They got the ball 3 times. Within scoring, but that's not Patrick Mahomes isn't doing that. My point being is that the credit should be that Kansas City is winning football games because they're a very good defensive team. It's not Patrick Mahomes doing it. The accreditation is going to him being this MVP, unbelievable thing. That narrative is false right now. He's not the piece of why they're winning football games. They're winning football games because they are a good defensive team.
Do not disagree. I would say that this is probably Pat Mahomes' worst season that we've like. I think that's very easy to say. His first season, full season, he came out and threw 50 fucking touchdowns. Like, this isn't a far stretch here. But what I'm saying is not concerned about that at all. I don't think he's fallen off. I'm not.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be in it at the end just because that's the way it goes. And I think that they're a really complete football team overall. It's just I think again the frustration boils down to me is just the consistent praise when it's not due. I don't think.
Yeah, right now. I'm not hearing that as much. I'm hearing the most. Hey, what's going on with Mahomes that I've ever heard?
Oh because it's due. I don't. Maybe
but he also carries over.
We're on different sides of Twitter then.
Oh yeah, big move for me today, guys. I deactivated mine. So
really,
yeah, I'm sick of it. I was just so over Twitter. Yeah.
Wow, that's big. That used to be like your staple.
Yeah, it was my staple. Love Twitter.
So you're on like Reddit. You're on Trump's platform.
Yeah. I bought a bunch of stock. I heard is it called stock? This truth thing's gonna take off, guys.
Yeah, you're on Truth Social.
Yeah, I got
all right. Chiefs at Raiders.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs, obviously.
Todd,
yeah,
I'm taking the Raiders for what it's worth.
Love that.
I am going to fade the Chiefs until they lose because they will, and I will be right one time
in a pick'em game. That's really bold, and I really appreciate you for it.
Division,
will be right, but you'll be 1-7, right?
Maybe they just came off a really big win where they just stomped San Francisco. Maybe they're coming in sliding and they get caught by a divisional. You never know. They're on the road in the divisions. I don't think this is that big of a stretch.
So highlight this comment about him making game-ending timely drives and plays when it counts.
I'm already over it, but yes,
but that's not. But that's not true.
Yeah,
this year you're saying
this year that's not the case.
Okay, we're
when they beat Cincinnati
through the season and they're undefeated though.
Sure.
Yeah, but
also-
again, Todd's point, it's not because Mahomes is making game-winning drives. It's
Right.
not
I'm
because
not
he's
saying-
doing these.
Right.
Right.
That's the
I'm not
scary
arguing if the Chiefs are good
It's
or
not
bad.
scary because I don't think he has that ability right now.
Yeah, I'm not arguing if the Chiefs are good or bad. A record says what it says, right? I'm not I'm not disputing if that they're them being undefeated is unjustified. They've won all the football games. That's what
We're getting Vikings vibes right now. Remember when the Vikings were like fucking 10-0?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
no,
this team's going for
I
a
don't
three-peat,
because
guys.
because this is a legitimate top 5 defense. That's my point. Is like
Yeah.
I just want for
I think someone
one,
slipped you guys some hater wine.
No,
They're going
there's
for a three-peat and are undefeated. What are we doing?
I
trying
think
to give
the
credit-
I'm sorry. I watched my football team go into their house and outplay them.
I'm
I
just
watched-
looking for people giving credit
That's
where
not what
true
the
credit
record
is
says.
due. That's all I'm asking.
Sure.
for.
Hey, I mean, I'll die on this hill. Wasn't pass interference, but whatever. I mean, whatever.
All right.
It wasn't, but whatever.
All right. All right.
They outplayed
Not
them.
tonight.
It's just
I-
infuriating.
Yeah, I'm just tired of it. Dude.
infuriating.
Just give credit to where the credit should be due, and not.
Why
to
are we
somebody
talking
who's
about
not
Josh
contributing.
Allen right now? Like, why is that not what? Like, why is he not the favorite for MVP right now?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes is not going to win MVP.
Vegas
He is
is
not.
otherwise.
Vegas also has to
Hedge money. Yeah.
incentivize where the money is supposed to go.
Yeah.
And as somebody who's holding a Jeff Goff plus 2,000 ticket,
Jeff.
let's fucking go. Jared Goff.
Jeff George
I'm
plus
sorry.
2,000. Former number 1 pick Jeff George.
Yes, that's the
Jeff
one.
Blake.
I
All right.
wish.
You wish Jeff Blake? Is that what you said?
I mean, at plus 2,000, those are terrible odds.
Yeah, for a retired player who's 53 years old.
I'm just saying it. Like, come on, FanDuel.
All right. Moving on to another guy that I hate. CJ Stroud and the Texans are hosting the
hate CJ
Indianapolis.
Stroud?
I knew he was going to be good.
Yeah.
I think he's overrated at this point. Too much praise too fast. And it's annoying to me. It's like the same stuff like with the McDaniels and the Sirianni and like all this stuff. It's like cool, like he did really good and they're doing really good, but like I don't know. I don't like the way he carried himself this offseason. I just didn't like it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So now I want him to
I just
fail.
love how everything you just said. Please take this with a grain of salt. You could just say about Burrow.
How?
Just, I mean, yeah, he went to the Super Bowl. They're doing really good. They're fine. I didn't like how he carried himself in the off. I mean, not that he did, but just the whole bleach.
I mean, the
blonde hair
Texans didn't go to the
thing and
Super Bowl.
White party. Okay, yeah, but what was that? 4 years ago now? So
Three.
3? Okay.
AFC Championship the year after that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, yeah, when he was rehabbing his wrist, hated the way he carried himself. Colts, Texans. The Colts really wanted to lose last week, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, nobody wanted to win that game.
Huh?
Nobody wanted to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the win was a hot potato.
I think I heard the best Anthony Richardson take ever. It was just like Anthony Richardson can have 10 completions for 220 yards. He'll go 10 of 27 for 220, 3 touchdowns and an interception and a fumble.
It's amazing how accurate he seems downfield and then a 2-yard check down. And it's like, what the fuck?
I'm taking the Texans here. I don't think there's not really a whole lot to overthink. I think they just are the better team. I still think obviously CJ Stroud is the better quarterback here. I think there's just more weapons in Houston. Todd, where you at?
Yeah, I think the Colts are not good, fellas. And
DeForest Buckner playing or practicing this week.
Aren't they 4-3? I'm not saying that means anything, but Colts they've won.
They are
some games.
4-3.
Yeah,
They have.
Yeah.
They have. But 3 of those 4 games were not with their starting quarterback. That's kind of what I'm alluding to. He's we're we got and a lot of people are they should just play Flacco. Anthony Richardson's got to get snaps. Just you got to let him ride this thing out because there's plays where he looks like everything's figured out, and then there's other plays where he's 8 yards overthrowing somebody. But it's time. He needs time in the league to be able to figure it out, though. So I'm not ready.
Fully agree.
I'm not ready to. I mean, I still think that he's wildly inaccurate regardless. I think that'll be something that follows him for his career, but he is elusive when necessary. But I'm taking the Texans. They're just a better team, just in general.
Yeah. I'm also taking the Texans, and forgive me, guys. I was trying to rile you guys up a little bit, but
no,
obviously I think Joe Burrow is much better than Stroud. But
could you have fucking gone, Aaron? Could you have gone to Paris and wearing a backless suit? No, then shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I could actually. I would have had a lot of people that said, "Please, no."
Sir, have you been drinking?
Yeah, I have to tell you that mole on your back is terrifying. You need to go to a doctor.
These Europeans keep calling me cigarettes. I don't understand.
Nice.
Anyway,
highbrow joke there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was a New York Times joke. I'm taking Houston here, of course. But it is interesting that the Colts are, like we said, are 4-3. But yeah, just to echo Todd's points there, you got to ride it out with Richardson. If someone wants to come and pay you and take Joe Flacco off your hands, let him do it. He's nice to have there. He's fun if he can play. I think part of the reason he went there is unfortunately Anthony Richardson has some injury risk. I want to see what he can do. The interesting thing is he's supposed to be an athlete, and they seem really committed to making him a pocket passer, which I can understand long-term wise why they're trying to do that. But the Colts owe it in themselves to figure out what they have there. And see if they can develop that for the future. Even if Flacco plays, you're not even getting out of the first round. So,
all right, moving on. Saints at Chargers. Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, Saints and Chargers. Gross. I'll take the Chargers. They don't have the rookie quarterback who's
another Spencer Rattler experiment.
Yeah. Don't like it, and I don't really like the Chargers, but
I'm taking the Chargers as well. It doesn't really excite me a whole lot. Justin Herbert
feels like
man.
I stepped in gum,
Justin Herbert. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, man, I saw his rookie season. I thought he was going to be really good.
I think that makes sense.
He hasn't been. Yeah, he just hasn't been. Since.
Well, we're back to where he was 2 years ago, where he just can't get the ball in the end zone, right? Like, couldn't get the ball in the end zone. Bring Kellen Moore, it gets better. Now Kellen Moore's gone again. We're right back to where we were before, where he gets close to the red zone and like can't fucking put a needle. He just can't do it.
I never read that too much into it of him being that kind of quiet guy. But I just don't see the fire or fight in him. Like, I think he has all the arm talent in the world, but I kind of want someone who's got a little motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, just kind of that, like,
a little moxie, a little something.
Mamba mentality, man.
Yeah. I feel like he's like, after you.
All right. Charlie, I missed your Packers Jags pick. That's on me. Looks like we're all taking the Chargers on this one.
See if I can scroll up and find it.
Yeah, looking for it too.
Interesting matchup here. As we have the Buffalo Bills headed out west to take on Mike McDonald and the Seattle Seahawks, coming off a big win on the road in Atlanta. The Bills, Josh Allen specifically, seems to be on an absolute tear. I think he and Lamar Jackson are my two favorites for MVP right now. I am still on the Josh Allen interception bet. So just continue to double down on Josh Allen throwing an interception because it will happen at some point.
Has he not thrown one yet?
No. He's clean.
This might not be the week, brother.
He's clean. He's clean, man. I just keep doubling down. It's going to hit eventually. right? 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 No,
Tell me I'm right.
Todd, you're leading the pack. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills, man. I think maybe to Josh Allen's benefit, they've found a running back that sticks, and I actually think that when Josh, why am I drawing a blank? James Cook. I had my brain shut off. Sorry. When James Cook even missed a week, Ray Davis filled in and ran the ball very nicely, and I think that is a compliment to what Josh Allen's been able to do to stretch out the field, and he just looks the most comfortable I've seen him in his career thus far.
Yeah,
not trying to boom or bust. It's not necessary. I do believe that the addition of Amari Cooper does make this offense a lot more of a challenge.
Definitely more well-rounded.
Him and Keon Coleman stretching the corners is a very interesting look. Because I think Keon Coleman is very quickly turning into a good wide receiver too in Buffalo. I think he's going to make himself a nice career being able to do that. And I don't know. The Seahawks are either the worst team of the week or the best team of the week. I haven't seen them play the middle ground yet. And I think that's where I have such a hard time picking any game for them because I watched them.
Yep.
I mean, they manhandled the Falcons. They didn't miss a step.
It was from the jump too.
Yeah. And
after getting
DK
shredded the last 2 weeks.
Right. And DK Metcalf went down. I think that's something to note too. I believe he has an MCL sprain or something like that he's going to miss a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. So I'd be interested to see, is it going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba that steps up and starts, getting a bunch more catches? I don't think that's a bad fit necessarily, but I'm taking the Bills here. I have a hard time kind of going against them right now. I just feel like they're playing top 3 football.
Aaron.
Yeah, I think the Bills are playing. I think they're playing great football, and I think Todd made a lot of really good points there. I am confounded by the Seahawks. They start 3-0, they go 0-3 from there, and then they fucking look incredible last week. And I thought that was the easiest pick in the book. We all took the Seahawks, right? Or we all took the Falcons.
We all
right?
took the Falcons.
Yeah,
I meant to say the Falcons. We all took the Falcons because you had Jared Goff go perfect percentage-wise. You had Daniel Jones looking like an all-pro quarterback. I was like, these guys, this secondary is Swiss fucking cheese. And then you got the Kirk Cousins staying at home if you guys have seen a U.S. map, Seattle, Atlanta, not exactly close. You got to get on a fucking plane and go all the way to Atlanta and you kick their doors in. What the fuck was that? Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to ride with the Seahawks. No other reason than I think the Bills have enough of a lead in the AFC East where I think they're good, but I don't think they're great. And they're just going to kind of dump some games. And this seems like a dumper. They're going to show up West Coast time, Buffalo to Seattle. Let's take the Seahawks here.
I'm with you, Aaron. I thought I was gonna be alone on this one, but this just feels like an opportunity for Seattle to kind of hey, we're still around, we're still here, and don't look now, guys. The Seahawks should be the favorite to win this division. They absolutely should be. They're playing the best football out of everybody. They're the healthiest, even with DK Metcalf banged up. So it's
they are hot and cold though, baby. I don't know which team we're gonna get.
Oh my God, it's all over the place. So yeah, me and Aaron looks like we're riding solo on the Seahawks on this one.
Otherwise called Todd going solo.
Well, the panel. Okay.
Oh, right. My bad.
All right, come on. Don't forget the people at home. All right. And Bobby, we have no idea what he's.
That's what I thought you were talking about because I was like, I don't know.
Right now, he's in his 3rd rim cycle, buddy. We have no idea where he's at.
The Sandman has taken him away.
He's right now. He's in the stage of acceptance where he's talking himself into Russell Wilson.
Oh man, and the opportunities there are unlimited. All right, we are moving on to Panthers at Broncos. Prayers up. Andy Dalton and his family got in a car accident the other day.
Yeah.
Seems everybody's doing all right. But Andy Dalton did sprain his thumb starting this week for the Panthers on the road, headed into Mile High. Bryce Young, starting quarterback for the Panthers. Taking the Broncos at home on this one. I think this is a ugly game for the Panthers. Turnovers, sacks. Broncos feeling really good. The Orange Crush comes back in this one. Give me the Broncos. Todd, who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos too. Let's not spend too much time on this snoozy.
Okay. Aaron?
Yeah. Prayers up to Dalton, but the Broncos just kind of fell into a second bye week.
Yeah, hopefully they don't act that way. Hopefully, I mean, it is the NFL, and at the end of the day, you have to come out and play the game.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
I said that defense is a trash compactor. Like, they are fucking ruthless. I love, actually, like, I think the Broncos are one of the biggest surprises of the season. I think when we look at
I had the over on
consensus. I think I did too. I'm not
playoffs.
100% sure. I don't think I had them as a playoff team, but I really like their defense.
They win this week. They're 5-3, guys.
I know.
That's crazy.
That's wild. That is wild. All right. All right. Moving on to the last of the 4:00 slate. Probably two of the bigger surprises. I think I had an over on one of these teams. I think I had an over on both these teams, actually. Thought we were going to get a really exciting rookie matchup here. Not going to be the case, but we've got the Bears and Caleb Williams, who just seem to be hitting their stride. I believe coming off a bye, going and taking on a Jaden Daniels-less Washington Commanders, but no Jaden Daniels, no problem last week. That Commanders offense kept rolling, which is pretty crazy to see. We thought that he was kind of the catalyst for this offense. Interesting matchup. We've got an offense kind of finding their stride, really good defense, versus an offense that seems to just be a machine, where the defense seems to be a little suspect in Washington. Aaron, why don't you kind of pick this one apart for us?
Yeah, guys, is Jaden Daniels a system quarterback? I'm just sorry, I had to pull out my
that's good.
My hot takes. Really, really want Daniels to play in this one. Obviously, we want the number one versus number two. I think this would be we're going to get robbed of, I think, one of the better games of the year, or more interesting games of the year. Like, both of these teams are interesting in the playoff contention. You obviously have the first quarterback off the board, second quarterback off the board, both succeeding in their own ways. I think Daniel is obviously played better and put himself in position for rookie of the year. But I think Caleb Williams has come in and done kind of what Chicago had hoped for and has improved upon himself every week. And, long-term wise, I don't really know, but I think this could be an interesting, not rivalry, but just measurement stick games across their careers. Like, how are these two going to perform against each other? So really would hate to get robbed of that. Got to assume Jalen doesn't play. I'll take Chicago. But if Jaden was playing, this would be a slam dunk Washington pick for me.
Yeah, I don't know about that, because I think even with Jaden Daniels, I think that the Bears are just more complete. I think where the Commanders have, a higher ceiling from an offensive perspective, I think the floor is a lot lower from a defensive perspective. So I think that, while the Bears might, kind of force themselves into punts at times on offense, I just don't know that Washington really has the chops to stop them. Whereas on the other side, I think the Bears defense, does have some opportunities to cause some issues for Washington in this one.
I was obviously being facetious, but it was interesting. I think I would feel a lot better about that pick if I didn't see Mariota actually be insanely successful.
Sure. And that, again, I always try and just not put too much stock into that when like a backup comes in. Because sometimes it really is difficult from a scheme perspective. Like, I've got this whole new guy, but they do play.
It seemed like they didn't really change the playbook. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't watching.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to with Mariota.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems
he fits well in there. Todd, who are you taking? I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears too. Here's so I was just looking at the Bears schedule. all their NFC North matchups are like the back quarter of their schedule.
Mm.
And they also
There's
have
a lot of teams like I think that's most of the
Yeah.
league where divisional
Yeah.
matchups are at the back half. Yeah.
And I think the only team after these next 3 weeks they play with a losing record currently are the 49ers, which we don't know where they're going to end up winding up. So they have Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. That's the next 3 weeks. And then it's like Packers, Vikings. I think they play the Chiefs. Like, and their schedule sucks. So I think this is a good one for them to pick up this week. I'm taking the Bears. I agree with you, Corey. I think this roster is like resoundingly better than I even anticipated it being. The fact that Caleb Williams has within 6 weeks figured out how to pretty much play quarterback in the NFL. Every quarterback turns the ball over. I'm not going to hold that against him. But just making better decisions and getting everyone involved has opened up for them to be able to run the ball more successfully too. That was a big reason why they've won their last 2 games. They've been able to run the ball really well or kind of cover the flats better. We're looking at like, it's kind of crazy to think that just somehow the NFC North could just be, you have a division winner plus maybe all the wild card spots. Like it's not super far fetched right now with the way things currently stand.
Yeah, obviously they're going to beat up on each other a little bit, which is going to present opportunities for.
But if they if they win the next 3 weeks and they're 8-2, and then they go through that gauntlet, if they're 10-7, they're not in a bad spot, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I think the NFC North is basically the exact situation that the AFC North was in last year, where it was, holy shit, if the season ended today, these guys would all be in the playoffs, and then they're going to start fucking eating each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 of them are going to make it, and I think the Bears are unfortunately the team that, falls
outside
off.
looking in. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think if I'm a Bears fan, I'm fucking psyched right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is the best position they've been in with quarterback since fucking Jay Cutler. Really.
Yeah. And then Jay Cutler gets a DUI. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoking Jay Cutler.
Yeah. Yeah. Illegal firearm Jay Cutler. That's what his nickname is.
Florida man arrested today. All right. 2 more games left. Thank you guys for hanging out with us so far tonight. If you haven't already liked the stream, share the stream. Say what's up in the chat.
We're hating tonight.
We appreciate you guys flying by the seat of our pants without our captain as he gets some much needed rest. He works his ass off. So we love you, Bobby. 2 more games to go. Man, this next one, at the beginning of the year, we're like, this is the sickest fucking game of the year. Cowboys at 49ers, rivalry game, 2 storied franchises, 2 teams that we would have imagined at this point with winning records in command of their divisions, or at least top of the tier in their divisions. That's not the case. We find 2 teams that are floundering, 2 teams that are struggling to find identity, a lot of it due to injury, but nonetheless, this is the NFL and you have to continue to move forward. Cowboys at 49ers, Todd. Where's your head at on this one, man?
Not great, Corey. Don't feel good about it.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. That's boy, the 49ers just played like complete dog dick.
Yes.
I mean, Brock Purdy played horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like, I mean, I know I think it wasn't Christmas Day when they played the Ravens last year. Or was it that weekend where we're like, oh shit, this is a potential Super Bowl matchup, and Purdy threw 4 picks, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened Sunday. We watched him do it again.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation
but go on.
Sure. Yeah, their defense is good. Created 3 turnovers.
No argument there, Aaron. No one said they aren't. No one said they aren't good.
Just created 3 turnovers. So it kind of gets me back to like Brock Purdy is just consistently overvalued in this league in terms of like what he brings to the table.
That's quarterbacks.
What do you mean?
Quarterbacks are overvalued.
Sure. I guess
other
I'm thinking
than the top 5, like other than like
right.
the guys, you know what I mean?
Right.
But go on.
We've kind of listened to this, banter back and forth of like, this guy Brock Purdy, he's changing the game for San Francisco. No, he's not. No, he's not.
One of those loaded rosters when healthy in football.
Right. What happens? They score first, and then they get the ball back, and then they score again.
Yeah.
And then he just gets to hang out. And then he has like, I don't know, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. Like, right. That's my point is like,
yeah,
he got into a game where they were really in the he got 3 opportunities before the fourth quarter to put them in the lead and turn the ball over 2 of those 3 times. And then another time got a field goal. I'm taking
banged up.
I know
that's up.
And then you turn to the flip side of that. I mean, coming off the bye, the week before that, probably one of the most embarrassing. I would say the most embarrassing loss of this season thus far.
Yeah. Getting your ass beat at home,
right in prime time, and also I think other than Cleveland, this is the worst vibes in the league right now. Or in Dallas.
Don't be, dude. It's kind of liberating, to be honest. I'm like I'm going golfing Sunday. Like I'll be home at like 1:30, I think. Fine. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I just like, there's just so much negative publicity around Dallas right now too. And like Jerry Jones just constantly putting his foot in his mouth, saying dumb shit, getting caught talking about dicks with Jamie Foxx. Like,
hell yeah.
Just weird stuff, man. Just weird stuff. I'm going to take the 49ers just based on the fact that I have no faith in what Dallas is putting out on the field defensively, specifically.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the 2 teams where I feel like the demise has happened the fastest year over year, right? Like we were talking, Dak Prescott was in the MVP conversation for pretty much the entirety of last season. And overwhelmingly, a lot of people believe that San Francisco was going to win the Super Bowl last year. Neither of these teams it's not reflected. Kind of a shit Sunday. I mean, you said it right, man. It's kind of a shit Sunday game. Like this should have been one of the most hyped Sunday night games through these first few weeks. And now it's like do I just watch Terrifier? Do I go see Terrifier 3 on Sunday night? Maybe.
Who's stopping you?
Your child,
Roger.
Yeah, I gotta find a baby. Luckily, I'm 4 minutes from a babysitter now, which is fucking.
There you go.
But,
love that.
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers. I think I might just go to bed early, boys. I think that's what's going to happen Sunday night.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, and like you guys said, I get why this should have been a good game. And again, vomit in my mouth, but like it is a historical NFL matchup between 49ers. Cowboys. It's a historical rivalry across division. So I get it. I know it's still going to draw seats regardless of who's good and not in this game. Yeah. It's funny how you describe Brock Purdy though, Todd, because I just kept thinking about the conversation we had 20 minutes ago about the Seahawks. Like, I don't know which one I'm getting, but it's going to be one of the 2. And Brock Purdy will go, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, or he'll go 168, 2 picks, whatever it might be. And of course, they've had a lot of guys in and out of that lineup this year, which is, it's always going to be difficult on any team. But couple in the Super Bowl hangover thing, I don't think we're talking about that enough. Like most teams do not do well the year after they lose the Super Bowl, and I think we're seeing that a little bit with San Francisco. It's a little bit of attrition. I'm still going to take them here because Dallas cannot run the ball, and even on its worst day, you kind of still have to be able to protect and run out the clock with the 49ers to protect the lead.
I am taking the Cowboys simply because they are coming off a bye. That's it. There's no other logic.
They got spanked into that bye, though.
They did. They did.
Bottom might still be red.
Maybe so. They should stop wearing the assless chaps. It's a Cowboy
Dallas?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball. All right, let's see. I'm missing Tez. I'm
I
missing
want
your
that on my
pick.
headstone.
Fuck it, we ball. Tez taking the Niners. All right, got you here, bud. Who did Ariel take?
He did not throw a pick in.
Buddy, it's okay.
He's taking the chaps.
All right, and last
Ariel, glad to see you're back too, man. After all the shit going down in Florida, dude. Thank you,
buddy.
for
hell yeah,
constantly being in here, hanging out with us. Glad you're doing. I assume if you're in here watching us, that you're in a safe place. So glad to have you in here, dude.
We appreciate you. Glad you escape the. If there's any repairs, I'm sure those are.
I don't know,
tedious,
guys.
so-
Real ones use cell data.
What's that?
I'm just kidding. I said real ones use cell data.
Oh man. All right, last game of the week. I'm really sad Bobby's not here to talk about it.
I wanted to talk to him about Russell Wilson all day. I
know.
I wrote stuff down. Like,
I mean, okay, so let's talk about it. Like, are we
Josh,
like,
go wake him up.
Yeah, go wake him up, Josh.
Just kidding, don't do that.
Yeah, let him sleep. He has to get up in like 6 hours. So
Yeah.
are we just like, okay, well, yeah, Russell Wilson's good again?
no,
Nope.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure that we're all still
Nope.
not taking crazy pills.
Nope.
But is this the best situation he's been in 4 years? I don't know. I don't even know, because like there was potentially good receivers in Denver, but I don't know. Sean Payton's doing well now. Was it just a bad fit? His last couple years in Seattle weren't the best. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's not
didn't
like
really-
the Jets defense is like a slouch.
yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of good that happened for that offense last year. I mean, they put up 30 plus fucking points, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
No joke.
look
I think
good.
it's the best quarterback play I've seen in Pittsburgh in like 5 fucking years. I know that sounds insane to say out loud, but like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and here's the thing is that there were also
that's
plays
scary to me.
where you were like, what the fuck is he doing? Right. And I know that's kind of all a part of the Russell Wilson package, is that he'll throw a ball 6 feet and it just hits the ground. Right. That happened a couple times in that game. But then that first lob pass that he threw to George Pickens, I was like, holy shit. That's kind of what Pittsburgh has been missing. Right. George like the playbook on George Pickens, if you watched him at Georgia, was like, he's not going to beat you with speed. He's physical. He wins one-on-one matchups. So trying to get him to stretch the field, that's not his bread and butter. His the thing for him, he is a lob pass receiver. Right? He doesn't work hard, right? I think we've pretty clearly seen that. But if you get him in a one-on-one setting where he can get physical, he usually wins those matchups. Justin Fields just has never shown that ability to be accurate on those types of throws, right? I'm not saying that's the reason why Russell Wilson should continue. I still firmly believe that Justin Fields should be leading this offense.
I don't. I think Russell Wilson is better, and I think there was times last week when Bobby was upset in the chat that I intentionally put my phone down, because I understand the difference between just wanting to be a fan and vent and wanting to talk about it constructively. And to the point of, you went through your entire offseason with Russell Wilson being your starting quarterback, and he got injured right before. Fields did just fine playing there, but I also think he put up really good fantasy numbers. And if you're watching the games, like, he is fine, but there wasn't really any impressive quarterback play. And my guess is that's not something that the Steelers were trying. Justin Fields is very good on his feet. The Steelers, to me, do not seem like an impromptu type organization. They like structure, they like people that stay within it. And I think Russell Wilson was a better fit quarterback wise for what this team has historically done. And I'll wait. We can wait for judgment on it. I'm just saying, between the two of them, I think it's like having the 25th and 26th best quarterback in the league. I don't think there's that much difference between them, and I think Russell Wilson might just be a better situational fit. Or at least that's how the Steelers view it.
Sure.
Yeah. I can see that.
I think that makes sense. I think I need more. I'll need to see more of Russell Wilson. But the only reason I say that is because of like what we saw over the last 3 years is not good. So I don't think like I'm not trying. Like I picked the Steelers last week, guys. I was the only one on this panel that picked the Steelers last week.
Yep.
So I'm trying not to like. I don't want my bias to show. I've bought my tickets for Week 18 in Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a huge game between the Bengals and the Steelers. I think that the Steelers are going to be around. This is kind of the last hurrah before their schedule gets pretty tough. But I think that I need to see Russell do it for a few more weeks before I'm like, yeah, he is back and he's playing really well. And we talked about at the beginning of the season in terms of like quarterback renaissance and like all these guys that we had already written off, like a Baker Mayfield, like a Sam Darnold. Russell Wilson might just be the next guy in line in this kind of resurgence of quarterback play. And he might find a second win in his career. That might happen.
Yeah. I think he's a little different than those guys in the sense that he's been there, he's done that. But I think what you're like, I hear what you're saying, but I think this is his swan song, if it's going to be anything. Or like what you're seeing.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I'm more that way too.
Yeah, like I think he just it's the Billy Bean in Moneyball of you got this much left talent in you, and I'm trying to squeeze every last drop of it. And unfortunately, I hate the Steelers. You guys know this. They're a good fucking football team that hasn't seen good quarterback play in a really long time. And I'm not saying Wilson is going to do it, but I saw how they looked even with Fields kind of doing it, and I hated it. Really liked Kenny Pickett. I really liked the ghost of Ben Roethlisberger. Scares me a little bit, guys. Like, this is a good team because they're getting adequate quarterback play.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Who you guys got?
Oh, Steelers.
Yep, Steelers. This is a top 2 defense right now, top 3 defense. I mean, it's really good. It's kind of insane.
This is a great opportunity for me to fade you. I'm going to do it because I see value in what the Giants do defensively. I don't think we're talking about this enough. The Giants have a good defensive line. They have a really good defensive line. So I think the Steelers do win this game.
Is it the best defensive line in this game?
No, clearly. I mean, come on. No. But what is the path, right? Like what? Okay, Corey, what do you?
I get it. Yeah.
I think the Steelers win this football game. I am taking the Giants in our pick'em game because here's how it happens. The Giants' defensive line rises up, forces Russell Wilson to be the guy, and he folds, right? Or presses, or tries to do too much, and then makes mistakes and things like that. That's the path. That's how it happens. It's not very likely, but I am going to take a flyer on it because I think that I'm not there on Russell Wilson yet. Now, can he do it consistently over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Then we'll be having a conversation of comeback player of the year potentially, right? Like if this guy just comes out and just plays really like balls out, like if he does what he did last week on a consistent basis, we're having a completely different conversation. We're talking about the Steelers competing for the division. We're talking about them, competing for the conference. Like there's a lot of different conversations that cause my acid reflux to act up. But I'm going to take a flyer here.
I get it.
I don't think I'm going to be right, but that's how it happens.
There's enough there. Also, I got to know who that is in the chat. I appreciate it. I hate the Steelers, though. I got a brown sign behind me. I hate the Steelers so fucking much. So much.
Yeah, I think we all three really, really, really hate the Steelers.
But thank you. That actually means that's very sweet.
That's Papa Layman saying that.
That's great. I like to think I can call it unbiasedly, but
there's no way he's being serious, right?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe
he watches this show every week. There's no way that he.
I mean, I just
Charlie.
unfortunately the Steelers have never been bad enough for me to shit talk them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep. Not in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Well, not in our
And I'm
being able to being able to intelligently talk about it.
Yeah, getting Big Ben, they were, leading up to that, they were pretty bad. But I think
there's not enough wine in the world to make me hate that hard. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
Get that second bottle
upstairs.
little box of chillable red, shall we? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sorry, Chonka.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. So that's that. I am, as a father of a newborn, exhausted. And so let's get the fuck out of here, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out. Ariel, I need a couple more picks. Your Niners and Steelers pick, if you got them. If I missed them, it's fine. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out with us tonight and tolerating us trying to run this show without our captain, the guy that wears the C on his sweater, Mr. Bobby Lehman. I hope he's well rested and you'll get him back in action next week. For Todd and Aaron, I'm Corey. See you next time. Thanks, everybody.